Welcome to the rise of nationalism in Europe. In this lesson, and particularly in this part, we are going to see about the dream of Frederic Sorrieu. Then, what led to the concept of nation, what is an empire, and how French Revolution was responsible for the formation of nations in Europe. In 1848, Frederic Sorrieu, a French artist, prepared a series of 4 prints visualizing his dream of world made up of democratic and social republic. So the series shows that the train of people who are standing to pay homage to the Statue of Liberty. Leading the procession, the way past the Statue of Liberty are the United States and Switzerland, which by this time were already nation states. Then France reached the statue. If you see keenly at the Statue of Liberty, you could see it is holding the Charter of Rights of Man in one hand and the torch of enlightenment on the other hand. So on the earth is the foreground of the image lie the shattered remains of the symbol of absolutist institutions. And in Sorrieu's utopian vision, the people of the world are grouped as distinct nations, identified through their flags and national costumes. From the heavens above, Christ, saints, and angels gaze upon the scene. They have been used by the artist to symbolize fraternity among the nations of the world. France was followed by the people of Germany bearing the black, red, and gold flag. Interestingly, at the time when Sorrieu created the image, the German people did not yet exist as a united nation. And following the Germany people or the people of Austria, the kingdom of 2 Sicilies, Lombardy, Poland, England, Ireland, Hungary, and Russia. Existed with many empires. So, in 19th century, nationalism emerged as a force which brought many changes in political world. The result of these changes were emergence of a nation state in the place of multinational dynastic empires of Europe. The concept of modern state, in which centralized power exercised sovereign control over a clearly defined territory, had been developed over a long period of time in Europe, but a nation state was one in which the majority of its citizens, and not only its rulers, came to help a sense of common identity and shared history or descent. The commonness did not exist from the time immemorial. It was forged through struggles through the action of leaders and the common people. So, let us hear what is nation from Ernst Renan. So, his lecture was delivered in University of Sorbonne in 1882. The lecture was subsequently published as a famous essay entitled Quest Si Quena Nation. So, what is a nation? So, a nation is a culmination of long past of endeavors, sacrifice, and devotion. A heroic past, great men, glory, that is a social capital upon which one bases a national idea. So, a nation is therefore a large scale solidarity. Its existence is a daily plebiscite. A province is its inhabitants. So, a nation never has any real interest in annexing or holding on a country against its will. The existence of nation is a good thing, a necessity even. Their existence is a guarantee of liberty, which would be lost if the world had only one law and only one master. Do you know where the idea of nationalism came in to start with? It started with French Revolution in 1789, which sowed the seeds for building a nation. The rule of absolute monarch, the French Revolution led to the transfer of sovereignty from the monarch to a body of French citizen. So you could see a picture here marking two forts. One is the French Bastille. The other one is the German province of Kassel fort. This picture was printed on the cover of German almanac designed by the journalist Andreas Rebmann in 1798. The image of French Bastille being stormed by the revolutionary crowd has been placed next to a similar fortress meant to represent the bastion of despotic rule in the German province of Kassel. The accompanying the illustration slogan that the people must seize their own freedom. So the Rebmann lived in the city of Mainz and was a member of a German Jacobin group. Now let us discuss about how the French Revolution in 1789 led to the emergence of nations in Europe. So the ideas of la patrie, the fatherland, and le citoyen, the citizen, emphasized the notion of united community enjoying equal rights under a constitution. The Estates General was now renamed as the National Assembly. Then regional dialects were discouraged and French was taken as the language of the country. A new French flag, the tricolor, was chosen to replace the former royal standard flag, and a uniform system of weights and measures were adopted throughout the country. The revolutionaries further declared that it was the mission and the destiny of French nation to liberate the people of Europe from the despotism. In other words, to help the people of Europe to become nations. When the news of the events in France reached the different cities of Europe, students and other members of educated middle class began setting up Jacobin clubs. Their activities and campaigns prepared the way for the French armies, which moved into Holland, Belgium, Switzerland, and much of Italy in the 1790s. So, with the outbreak of revolutionary wars, the French armies began to carry the idea of nationalism abroad. Within the wide swathe of territory that came under the control of Napoleon, he set up introducing many of the reforms that he had already introduced in France. Through a return of monarchy, Napoleon had no doubt destroyed democracy in France. But in the administrative field, he had incorporated revolutionary principles in order to make this whole system more rational and efficient. The Civil Code of 1804, called as Napoleonic Code, did away with all privileges based on birth, established equality before the law, and secured the right to the property. This code was exported to the regions under the French control, the Dutch Republic, in Switzerland, in Italy, and Germany. Napoleon simplified administrative divisions, abolished the feudal system, and freed the peasants from serfdom and manorial dues. In the towns too, guild restrictions were removed. Transport and communication systems were improved. Peasants, artisans, workers, and new businessmen started emerging. Peasants, artisans, workers, and new businessmen enjoyed a newfound freedom. Businessmen and small-scale producers of goods in particular began to realize that uniform laws, standardized weights and measures, and a common national currency would facilitate the movement and exchange of goods and capital from one region to another. So the people, however, showed the different reactions for the French rule. It was mixed. Initially, in many places such as Holland, Switzerland, as well as the cities like Brussels, Mainz, Milan, and Warsaw, the French armies were welcomed as harbingers of liberty. The initial enthusiasm soon turned to hostility as it became clear that the new administrative arrangements did not go hand in hand with political freedom. Increased taxation, censorship, forced conscriptions into the French armies required to conquer the rest of Europe all seemed to outweigh the advantage of the administrative changes. So let us continue in the part 2 with the making of nationalism in Europe. Thank you.